What's up, YouTube? Today we're just going to talk about a few things. The big news going on right now is, of course, that Trump has opened up the government and for about 3 weeks, unless Nancy and freaking Chuck decide to compromise with him, he's going to end up shutting it down again. And what a lot of people don't know is that Trump has actually tried to compromise with them. He's actually told them that, you know, he passed most of their bills, most of the things they wanted, and all he asks is that you know, they give him the money to fund the for more border security and build the wall or whatever. But again, Nancy and Chuck threw a hissy fit. Instead of getting all the bills they wanted passed, because they don't care anything about that. They just want to do something to spite Trump. So that's what they're doing. They're just doing it out of spite, and they're not going to play ball. They're not willing to compromise, even though Trump is. And a lot of people don't know that. But yeah, he's trying to compromise. They're not wanting to compromise at all. They're just wanting to be hateful and spiteful. So at the end of 3 weeks, they're supposed to come out with another compromise. But Trump and the Republicans keep trying to compromise, but Nancy and Schumer and Chuck and the Democrats are just trying to be spiteful and you know, just go against Trump is all it is. So it's a little bit ridiculous. They're acting like spoiled little brats, and they need to grow up and be adults. Anyways, that's the big news. I'm going to talk to you about a couple of recently movies that I just watched that just came out not too long ago, and then I'll get to your B-rated movie review. The first one I watched not too long ago was the new Aquaman. I wasn't real impressed with the Black Manta. I mean, the character was okay, but I think they could have done a lot better with him. They made him kind of look like a real wuss. One of the other things I didn't make sense to me in the movie is they made Aquaman almost like he was like Superman. He was literally indestructible, which made no sense because he wasn't like that in the comics. But they made it to where you could just literally do whatever you want to him and it wouldn't hurt him or nothing, which made no sense to me because that's not the way Aquaman is. But the one big disappointment I had with the movie is the movie would have been 10 times better if it didn't have Jason Momoa in it. The guy cannot act worth a crap, and it's other, you know, if they would have just put somebody else in the lead role, it probably would have done a hell of a lot better than it did. Otherwise, it was an alright movie. That was just my main complaint, is that it had Jason Momoa in it. One of the worst actors there's ever been. How he keeps getting lead roles in films and TV makes no sense because he cannot act worth the crap. The next one I saw here recently was the new Robinhood. Yeah, I wasn't really impressed with it either. They tried to do a lot of action sequences in it, but it just I don't know. It fell flat. It really wasn't exciting or anything. There was nothing about it that was really great. It was just, mediocre. Um, but I don't know how many times they're going to redo Robinhood before they, as far as I'm concerned, the Kevin Costner movie back in the 90s, that was the best Robin Hood I'd ever seen. Uh, Anything after that's just been, and I like Russell Crowe, but even his wasn't really that great. So yeah, I don't know why they keep redoing Robin Hood. They should just leave that story alone now. There's about 20 different Robin Hood movies, maybe even more. But yeah, the new Robin Hood with Jamie Foxx in it. I like Jamie Foxx as an actor for the most part, but it really wasn't that great. It was just something to watch, I guess. Pass the time, kill the time. The next one, I just got done watching that 4 rounds of the Nutcracker, and let me tell you, I could have done without watching that movie. It was just, it really was not good at all. It was pretty bad. I understand why it didn't do so well. Especially the whole ballerinas. Even though I know it comes from a ballet, it's still, they didn't have to put all that ballet in the middle of it. It was just dumb. But yeah, it wasn't really that. They tried to do it like Chronicles of Narnia, and it just didn't go over well at all. So yeah, that movie was a bomb too. It wasn't very good at all. So those are the new ones that I've watched here recently. Like I said, most of them just weren't up to par. I don't care for most of the new movies today. They're just not that good. Television. I just binge watched the Titans, the new DC Universe Online series, and I was quite surprised. I actually liked it. I'm not a Titans fan or Teen Titans fan at all. But they're known, and most people know who the Teen Titans are. I was afraid it was going to be too CW-ish, but honestly, it was actually really good. It was more realistic, and they took a more realistic approach to it, murder mystery kind of thing, and it was actually pretty good. It has been renewed for a second season, which is good. I like the fact that they're trying to introduce DC characters a lot of people don't know a whole lot about. Now they're trying to do a spin-off, a hero team, I guess it's a superhero team called the Doom Patrol, which kind of reminds me of the Doom Brigade from Marvel. So it's a little strange. The Doom Patrol, I don't really care anything about them. I've never even heard of them until the Titans show. So I never even knew they existed. They're more of a new development in the comics for DC, and I don't know. They're not really a team I care to watch. I don't think that show's going to do all that well because hardly anybody knows who they are. They're trying to introduce Cyborg into the series though, and I think that's a big mistake. I've said it 100 times before. Cyborg in the comics, you know, he's not even known to be part of the Justice League until way, way later, after they've already been formed and shit. He's like part of like the 5th or 6th team of the Justice League. So I don't know why they tried to introduce him in the movie as right off the bat, because that's not. Why do they? The only reason why they've introduced Cyborg so early is because of the PC crap. They're trying to put a black character into it, and that's retarded. Just go, I've said 100 times, stick with the original story. It just makes me angry that they do that. And when they go to the big screen, they want to change everything and rewrite the whole story. But yeah, they're going to try to introduce Cyborg into this Doom Patrol show or whatever. I don't think it's going to go over very well at all. Then they're going to do you know, a couple like anime, like the new Harley Quinn thing and blah blah blah, and Young Justice, which again, that's kind of dumb. And for the I'm gonna go ape shit next time I hear someone call them the Injustice League, because it's not the Injustice League. That is not their name. They are the Legion of Doom. Get it the fuck right. Oh my god, I hate that name. Because them fucking retards, the new people at DC, came up with Injustice League for the Young Justice. Oh, fuck that shit. It's Legion of Doom. It always has been, always will be. Don't even try to change the name. But anyway, they're going to try to do another show called Stargirl, which I didn't know anything about this. Again, it's a new character, something new. This is not an old character. It's a new one. It has to do with a bunch of the young people, the next generation, or not the next generation, but the next generation of superheroes or whatever, coming out like the Justice League and, or the you know, the Justice Society. But Stargirl's all about that. You know, a whole new you know, grandkids taking over the older Justice League members' places. So I don't know about that one. I don't know. Other than that, that's all I really know about it. I would think it would be really freaking cool. I really wish they would do it. Is either they do a movie or they do a television show. Now that they got their own streaming online service, I wish that DC would go back and do the original stories and origins of the JSA. That's the Justice Society of America. I think that would be awesome if they would, you know, because a lot of people don't know the Golden Age characters and that got it started, got all this comic book stuff started. It'd be cool for them to do like, you know, where they're back in the 40s or something, and the JSA come together, and they're the ones who start everything. I think it would be cool to have the original team members, like the Spectre, Atom, you know, Hawkman, Flash, the first Green Lantern, and the original, like the Hour Man, and you know, just have the original members show up, and you know, do a television show about the original just the Society of America and the Golden Age comic book characters. Mr. Midnight, you know. I think that would be cool, you know. One thing I did learn is that Batman was not the original Batman, the one that everybody knows from Gotham and everything. There was, apparently in Pulp magazine, there's an original comic book character called the Black Bat, who was the original detective. And he was this creator, someone named Pines or something. He created the Black Bat, which was basically a crime-fighting detective that had gadgets and crap. But he also ended up getting powers or whatever. He had a couple powers where he could night vision and sonar, you know, extra hearing kind of crap. He had some. He was one of the very first characters who had a disability. So yeah, shocking. The Black Bat was actually the original Batman. But then DC, you know, the guys who created Batman stole that idea from this Pines guy and started doing their own comics called Batman. So it was kind of surprising. I didn't know anything about that till here lately. Same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man was not the original Spider-Man. There is, you know, in early comics, like All Action, I'm not sure it was All American or Action Comics or something, but there was a guy called the Tarantula, who literally did almost the same thing as Spider-Man. You know, he crawled on walls, and you know, his web shooters were guns, but you know, he was the original Spider-Man. There was also a woman named the Spider Queen, who was before Spider-Man, who literally made a suit or whatever, and you know how Peter Parker makes them little wrist braces that shoots out his web. She actually did that too, but she was before Spider-Man. So it's kind of funny that you have these, you know, comic book heroes that were literally the same thing that came out way before, you know, the popular comic book heroes that were actually the originals, OGs, I guess you'd call them. They were Golden Age. So it's kind of neat that I got to see, you know, where Stan Lee and them, you know, and Jack Kirby and all them got their, you know, ideas. They were reading older Golden Age comics, and that's how they made their characters, based off these other characters. They just changed them around a little bit. But I think it would be cool if they did, you know, DC did a, you know, a show with the original Golden Age heroes back in the 40s and crap. That would be neat. Alright, let's get on to your B. So your B movie review. Okay. This is the last one I said I would do of the Arnold series. This is considered a cult classic, fighting or action movie. A lot of people probably know this one. A lot of people don't know this one. It's called Commando. Arnold Schwarzenegger did a movie in the 80s, 85, 86, called Commando. It only had a budget of $10 million and it grossed worldwide about $57 million. So it didn't do too bad for a cult classic and a B-rated movie. you know, back in the 80s, they were all your action stars were doing these, you know, kind of cheesy action movies, you know. And of course, Arnold did a couple of them as well. The movie starts off at the very beginning. You see the credits running, and you see Arnold with his daughter, which is a young Alyssa Milano, who turns, you know, she eventually becomes a really beautiful woman. The problem is that she turned into a real bitch when she became part of the feminist movement and the whole liberal, real far left-wing movement. She just, I can't stand that woman anymore. She's dumb. But anyway, a lot of you probably remember her from like Who's the Boss. She was played in Who's the Boss. It's about that time that she did this movie. She was all, but most people know her from most people today know her from the television show called Charmed, the original Charmed, not the new one they just came out with. But anyway, her as a kid, her and Arnold are having like father-daughter time or whatever, and they show little scenes of them doing things like fishing and going and getting ice cream, yada yada, you know, just, you know, family stuff. And then it shows him in his house, which is like in the middle of the mountains out of nowhere. This big, really nice house, like a log cabin. But this chopper shows up, and it's an army chopper. And, you know, his daughter's like, you promised you weren't leaving again. And he says, I'm not going anywhere. And then the general inside, he comes out of the chopper, and he tells him, he says, John, that's his name in the movie, he says, someone's killing off your entire unit. His old unit for when he was doing black ops for the army. So he decides he's going to find out who's who killed his unit, and you know, the general's there to warn him that someone may be after him. And then he leaves, and then the action starts. It kicks in pretty early. Someone tries to blow up his house or whatever with him in it, or it tries to kill him and his daughter. But instead they take off with his daughter, and this guy's left behind tells him he's got to do what they want because they have his daughter, and he says, I don't fucking think so, and kills the dude. He goes to get in his truck, and the distributor cap's been pulled off. The wires tore up. So he just decides to push it off the mountain. Why the hell not? You know, fuck it. I'm a strong man. I've got the muscles, so he pushes it off the damn mountain. And he jumps in it, decides to ride it down the mountain, you know, and no brakes and shit. You know, it's one of them roads that goes back and forth down the side of the mountain. So it nearly runs into him a couple of times, but he misses him, and he ditches the truck, and it blows up, and they grab him and knock him out. And just before he gets knocked out, he notices that one of the guys that who's kidnapping his daughter and him is one of the people from his old unit, and apparently he's not dead. They just made it look like he's dead real early in the movie. They made it look like they blew him up in a bow. His name is Bennett. So Bennett's your bad guy, and he used to work underneath John or Arnold. So they take him and they tell him if he wants to see this, I don't know, he's like Colombian or something. He tells him if he wants to see his daughter again, he's got to do a mission for him, which is assassinate this other Colombian dude so he could take his place. So they have this guy go with him on the plane to where he's supposed to go to, and John basically beats the crap out of the black dude, snaps his neck, and then puts a pillow and blanket on him and makes it look like he's asleep on the plane. And he tells the stewardess not to disturb him. He's really dead tired. Like, he likes to use some puns in this movie, I'm telling you. Anyway, he finds his way to the back of the plane, finds where the landing gear is at, and he decides to jump off the plane just as it's taking off through the landing gear hole or whatever where it comes out, and he jumps off the wheel into like this little swamp area just as the plane takes off, and you know, no telling how high he was, but yeah, like he could go ahead and do that, jump off from that high. It's a little bit ridiculous, but whatever. So he lands in the middle of this water, weeds or crap, and he gets out of the swamp area and then runs all the way across the airport. Now at this time there was another guy in the airport who watched him take off in the plane. But he doesn't see him jump out of the plane because he had already turned around and walked back to the terminal. Arnold makes his way back into the terminal and he sees that guy trying to hit on this black chick, which you'll notice the bad guy, he's in several other movies, Dreamscape, 48 Hours, you know, he's played in several other movies as a bad guy. He's kind of a weasel in just about every movie he plays in. The character, he's always a weasel, kind of a douchebag. But anyway, he's hitting on this black woman, which you'll also notice is, you know, one of the black female more popular actresses in the 80s as well. You've seen her in a lot of movies. Anyway, he's trying to hit on her. She's not having it. He follows her to the parking lot, and Arnold follows them, and he tries to hit on her again. The black girl basically tells him to fuck off, so he leaves in his Porsche, and Arnold comes over and rips the seat out of this girl's convertible and jumps in the car and tells her that she needs to follow that guy. So she goes to following that guy, and he tries to explain to her that, you know, they've got his daughter, he needs her help. They get to this mall where this guy went, and he goes in for like a little business meeting in this restaurant or bar or something, and Arnold tries to convince her to go in there and talk to that guy and lure him out so he can grab him. So she goes inside the restaurant, but she can't do it. She's freaking out. She tells this mall security guard that she's been kidnapped by this big guy and he's forcing her to do stuff. And so the mall security, you know, he calls in reinforcements and they all try to jump Arnold. And Arnold starts fighting them. There's a big commotion. The bad guy's talking to another bad guy that's making a business deal. They come running out shooting and crap at him, at Arnold. And Arnold goes to after that guy, after he beats the crap out of the mall cops. And the woman, the black woman, she tries to help Arnold. all of a sudden, you know, she's had a change of heart. She's like stopping him from like trying to shoot him and shit. But the bad guy that with the Colombian group or whatever, he takes off to get in his car, and Arnold decides to follow him. And then the black girl runs out the front part of the building. Arnold grabs her car and chases after the bad guy in his Porsche or whatever. And they're coming around the front part of the mall, and the black chick yells at Arnold and says, "Oh no, stop! You're not going out without my car without me," and jumps in the car with him. Anyway, now all of a sudden she wants to help him, and she's freaking out and blah blah blah. And they, which makes no sense, but anyway, whatever. Anyway, they knock the guy off the side of the road, and the car flips on its side, the Porsche, and the convertible that Arnold's driving, he drives it right into like a telephone pole or something, like at 90 miles an hour. This chick, this black chick, she's not in a seat. There's no seat belt. She literally should have flown right out that damn window, right over the damn cliff they were on. But, you know, surprisingly, she's okay. Whatever. But anyway, they get out of the car. And of course, he grabs him, beats the shit out of him. He finds this hotel key on him. And he tells him that, you know, earlier he told him he was going to kill him last. He says, "I lied," and he drops him, kills him over this cliff. So Arnold comes over there, and of course the car's on the side. He can't drive the convertible, so he's, you know, of course, you know, he's Arnold, you know, fuck it, I want to drive this car. So he goes over there and pushes the car back on its wheels, and then hops in the car, and they take off and they go to this hotel because it's the only lead they got. They get to the hotel and they're rummaging around, and there's this black guy who's kind of like partners with the other guy. He shows up in like this convertible. And he goes in there, and he's like Green Beret or something, and him and Arnold get in a big old fight, and he ends up killing the black guy. They get this manifest from his car or whatever that leads them to a warehouse where there's a bunch of weapons and crap being stored or sent off, and they find out that these weapons are going to this particular island in the Atlantic. So they go to this island. They figure a way how to get out to the island by stealing this plane. It's a seaplane, and she just happens to be going to flight school or some crap. So she knows how to fly a plane conveniently. So she flies the plane. They stop just shy of the island. Now, just before that, you know, they got the plane and stuff. They had gone and literally just crashed into this army surplus store where he gets a bunch of weapons and crap. They try to arrest him. She follows him with a rocket launcher and shoots the damn like a jail truck or whatever, you know, one of them armored trucks. She shoots the armored truck and gets him out, and then they find the seaplane, go to the island or whatever. Anyway, they get to the island. He's carrying all the weapons, you know, and he puts his war paint on or whatever. And then he goes in the island because he's going to get his daughter back. Where his daughter, she figures out how to, instead of windows being over these glass plain doors or whatever, it's boards. She figures out by taking off a doorknob, almost looks like a screwdriver kind of. She uses it to pop off one of these boards to escape. Arnold shows up on the island and he goes in, guns blazing. So Arnold goes onto this island, the guns blazing. He literally shoots like everybody. I mean, in this entire army, basically, of like Colombians or whatever, and not one of them can hit him, but his mark shoots just about every single one of them. A little unrealistic, but whatever. His daughter manages to get out of that her room that they locked her up in by popping out that board and escaping through that way. Bennett sees that she's ran out. He chases after her. He basically busts through the wall of these boards and breaks out after her. But anyway, he chases her down in this basement. She goes down there to hide or whatever while all the fighting's going upstairs. Arnold kills everyone, including the Colombian bad guy who basically kidnapped him and all that stuff. Kills him, then goes after Bennett down the basement. You know, Bennett grabs hold of his daughter and shoots him in the arm, and then Arnold basically tells him, says, you know, you're a killer. You like to see people die with your knife. You know, why don't you fight me with your knife? Blah blah blah. So they get in this big knife fight. But Arnold eventually, you know, overcomes and kills him. And then he grabs his daughter, and as he's walking off the island, the black chick, she'd radioed into the general and told him what was going on. And the general shows up, and he's brung some guys with him. Arnold and his daughter's walking out of the big mess they left, and he asked Arnold if anyone was alive, and Arnold said no, and that he was never going to see him again. And Arnold and his daughter hops into the plane and they take off. That's the end. The movie is considered a cult classic. It's, as far as action movies, it's one of the better action movies out there. If you know you're into action flicks, I'd highly recommend it. It's better than most. Definitely one of the better ones to watch. You know, if you've got some time to kill or something, you need something to watch, definitely I highly recommend watching Commando. It's a really good movie. Now, as before, if you have any suggestions, some type of cult classic films or something that I might not have seen or something, and you want me to review them for you and check them out and give you my opinion on them, go ahead and leave suggestion in the comment section below. I told you I'd tell you the truth, and you've just been told.